Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Brandon. Welcome this evening, this morning, wherever you are calling in from. A really heartfelt welcome. We're really thrilled to have you here with us. And my name is Claire, and I've been with the Journey for many, many years, director of the operations, and came to the Journey back in the late 90s. So I've been around a while. And I can see many of you familiar faces. Welcome to you guys. Nice to see you again. And for those of you who are new to the Journey, this may be your first experience of the Journey and Brandon Bays. Brandon Bays is just a magnificent person who I know personally, and she is an internationally best-selling author. She's a speaker, and she's been a real pioneer back in the day and still in the field of mind-body healing and transformational work. She is the author of The Journey, which is a book that she wrote way back when, which has been translated into many, many languages. And she's also the founder of the Journey Method, which is a transformational process that has been taught, I think in many different countries, over 5 continents, and has really impacted hundreds of thousands of people who have undergone this work. I know my life personally has been transformed from this work, and I know many of you guys who are in the room who have all undergone the journey. I know that your lives have also been transformed from this work, which is why you're here and with us tonight. So, Brandon is here with us this evening. We call this Conversations with Brandon, and the intent behind our session here this evening is that you bring your questions, whatever you might be struggling with in life, whatever has been coming up with for you, anything that you're grappling with that you might want to ask for help and support and find a way forwards, moving forwards with. You are invited to share your questions. All questions are welcome here. No question is too small, too large. Just please bring your questions. And the way that we are going to do this is in a short moment, Brandon will be welcomed here, and then she'll take us through a short meditation. And then if you do have a question, I'd love for you to raise your digital hand. And the way to do that, I'll just walk you through a little bit of the practicalities. If you look at the bottom of your screen, I'm on a laptop, so hopefully it's the same for you too. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there is a button, it's a heart button, and it says react. And if you click on that, there's the option to raise your hand. So if you do that, if you push raise your hand, then I'll see that your hand is raised. I'll call for you, and you'll be put kind of side by side on the screen next to Brandon. Yes, Flavika, you found the raise your hand button. Well done. Wonderful. You'll be able to sit next to Brandon side by side on the screen. We'll ask you to press the unmute button to unmute yourself, and you can ask your question directly, and she'll take the time with you personally to support you and guide you. So you can also ask, if you have anything specific, you can ask me that in the chat, and I'll be happy to support you. So without any further ado, let's welcome Brandon, and thank you, Brandon, so much for being here and for spending this precious time with everyone. So let's welcome Brandon Bays.
A heartfelt welcome to everyone. And, it was just in April that I was looking at all the world events going on in the world and how much we're all struggling with. And it seems like in the last couple of decades, they've just heated up. And no matter where you look, there's polarization going on, wars going on, uncertainty about our jobs, the fear that AI may even take over our jobs. And so there's a lot of unrest happening in our lives. And then we all went through COVID together, and that kind of dismantled everything that we thought was how we worked in life, and went into lockdowns. And even though we've come through that, the effects of it are still going on. And so I just wanted to reach out to everyone to give us a context, to just come together, just let our hair down and just relax and open into our hearts and really open with whatever the heart is feeling most pulled to share, what it needs, what it's struggling with in your life. And just as we open together, see how something can resolve itself, or if there's a direction you can go in that might help you resolve that area of your life. And so it's just more or less a conversation and an exploration of what's here and what's going on in your life. And so I always like to start by bringing us and letting us become present, just bringing all of our awareness into the now. And let's take a nice deep breath in together. And just blowing out any stress you may have had today, just blowing it out of the room. And you can close your eyes and taking a deep breath in of openness and breathing that into your room. And the willingness just to go within and check what the heart is saying, what the true heart's pull is here. And so that willingness to listen to yourself and breathing that and flooding your room with that consciousness. And then trust in yourself, in life, trusting in your soul's prayer, that it wants you to come home, that it wants you to listen to the heart's guidance and to be guided by the truth in your life, by yourself, by the love that is your essence, by the peace that is the self. And so trusting in your own heart, in your own soul's prayer, to come home to who you really are, and breathing that trust into the room. Flooding the room with it. And then a breath in of willingness to be exposed to whatever your own soul, your heart, your being wishes to reveal to you tonight, or today, or this morning, wherever you are. So that willingness to be exposed to yourself, breathing that into the room and flooding the room with that consciousness. And now letting your heart be as wide as the world, wide enough to welcome all of life into this vast open sky of your being. And it's vast and spacious and free and endless in front of you. Your own awareness is open, spacious and vast behind. Your own presence, spacious and open and vast to all sides. And you're just resting in a vast, open sky of all acceptance. And now giving your body permission just to relax now. Smoothing your forehead and softening the corners of the eyes. Relaxing the facial muscles and releasing the grip of the jaw. Softening the neck and the throat muscles. You know, so often as a child, I used to choke back my emotions, and as an adult in the journey, often when I soften my throat and my neck muscles, letting them become loose and limp like spaghetti noodles, somehow the unshed tears that I wasn't able to shed as a child. They just arise unbidden. And so really softening the whole throat area, as if you're saying, it's okay. I'm allowed to feel. And then softening the shoulders. You know, in our world, all of us carry these big burdens of responsibility, as if we had this job given to us when we were a child. And right now, just imagine some force of life is coming, some angels, whatever, and they're going to lift that burden of responsibility off your shoulders, and lifting all that burden off your shoulders and throw it into the sun. And what if your only job is right now, just for this time, to relax now and feeling your shoulders softening down? And then going to the whole chest area. And so often I have felt that I was really being heart open. And yet when I've gone to the heart area, there is a way that I've been protecting against life, bracing against it, afraid of getting hurt again. And so bring all of your awareness to the heart area and consciously choose to open the door to your heart, as if you're saying, I am open to life. I'm willing to welcome life in. There have been billions of molecules with your name on them, knocking at your door your whole life long. Molecules of grace, the spaces in between, are suffused and permeated with a transmutational healing grace, and breathing that in, the door to the heart, opening it wide and breathing in all that love, that healing grace, that light, breathing it into the heart area. And with the out breath, like waves of the ocean, as if something's just releasing from you. And as a matter of fact, open the front door of your whole body and breathe that transmutational healing grace in to the whole of the body. And with the out breath, some sort of release and letting go is happening. And like waves of the ocean, breathing into the heart area. And with the out breath, a release is happening, and breathing into the solar plexus region. And with the out breath, the release is happening, and breathing into your tummy and waistline area, as if these molecules of grace, of healing grace, and the consciousness between the molecules are flooding all into the solar plexus and the tummy area, right out through your back. And with the out breath, something you're ready to let go of is just being let go of. And like waves of the ocean, the influx of grace. And with the wave out, something is taken with it. And breathing into the belly now, right out through the back. The light is flooding all the internal organs. Every molecule is an expression of that. All the spaces in between are flooded with that, saturated with that light, that love, that healing grace. Breathing that into the belly region, the pelvic region. And with the out breath, a release is happening. And the body is softening and opening and breathing into the pelvic region and the sides of the hips. And the waves of this ocean of grace are flooding in all the organs that live inside. And with the out breath, some sort of release is happening, a letting go of the tension, of the stress, just letting the waves of the ocean just draw that out of the body and letting it flow into your bottom and the upper thighs, middle of the thighs, knees, legs, feet. Breathing that life force, that consciousness, that prana, that healing grace in. And with the out breath, some sort of letting go is happening, some sort of leave taking is happening. And you can even go into the front of your body, because sometimes we're bracing against life and it can feel like we've got a little wall of separation between us and life, and feeling as if that wall is crumbling into so much gravel, turning into dust, and being swept out of the room. And sometimes it is the body that's the armor. And if that's the case, open the front door of that armor and the back door, side doors. Take any masks off, helmets. Let this whole pseudo armor of defendedness and bracing against life drop now to the ground, be swept out of the room. And you're just left as open exposure to your own self. And the self is realized to be spacious, vast, free, and endless in front. Your own presence is realized to be spacious and vast behind, and infinitely free to all sides. And it's just this ocean of ever deepening presence. And going to wherever mind is right now. And even the mind holds tension. It can feel like a tightly held fist or tightly held flower bud. And breathing a deep breath into mind. And with the out breath, letting mind open like a flower to the sun. Another deep breath in. And letting mind open like a flower to the sun. And so heart is open, body is open, mind is open, your being is open. And all is open here. And we're just resting now in this ever deepening ocean of presence. And all awareness is brought to just this moment. No thought of past, no thought of future, just all of awareness is brought just here to this moment, to the now. Just resting here, soaking. In this ocean, as this. And now turning your gaze into the heart and checking with the heart. What's been here? What's been arising for you? What have you been grappling with in your life? What is longing to be resolved, explored, opened into? What is the heart's prayer? And just being guided by your heart to what's wanting to be asked, what needs resolving, exploring, or opening with in your life. And holding that close to your heart. Taking a nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And another nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And the awareness remains spacious, vast, free and endless in front of you. Boundlessly spacious and free behind, endlessly vast to all sides. And we're just resting here in a vast open sky of all acceptance. So that eyes open or eyes closed, same. Taking another nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And one more nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And when the eyes are ready, you can open them now into this presence, into this field of awareness that you are. Another nice deep breath in and sighing it out. And you can open your eyes now. The eyes will open now. Okay. And with your eyes open, just be aware of how spacious and open it is in front, how your presence is vast behind and spacious to all sides. And so we'll let this conversation take place in this bath of presence. And so if a question is arising out of your heart, something wants exploring or resolving, this is that time that you can raise your hand. And then we'll see what takes place.
Okay, so yes, Sabrina.
Mm. Nice.
Hello. Hello,
Hello.
everybody. Okay, I'm being brave, being the first one. Um, Thank you so much for the meditation. I did ask a question that arose during the meditation, and there was like already an answer.
Good.
And I'm not sure if you really said it or if I only heard it. But it was like, okay, let life into your heart.
Mm.
So that was very, yeah, it touched me. And then later there was still this question of, okay, how can I really trust in myself right now, being in a such hard situation with my body, feeling like I'm running out of time.
Mm.
How can I have this deep trust that I'm going my way and that I'm going to survive?
Okay. So
Yeah.
I take it the body, there's some sort of illness or condition here with the body. And can I ask if there's been a prognosis With the,
Yeah, it's a sarcoma,
okay.
mesentery sarcoma. I don't know if you know
So
what that means.
what is the, have they given you any prognosis about survival and living and,
Not yet. I'm in the process of
okay.
facing the next appointment.
Okay, well, no wonder you're in a place of fear and not trusting yourself because you don't know. But I do feel that you should know that with the journey, it's now being used in medical hospitals by medical professionals because what the journey does, it gets to the emotional root cause of what's co-created the illness in the first place. And so, for instance, in Israel, they have in Tel Aviv one heart hospital where after you've undergone your heart treatment, you go through a week long in recovery where you undergo the journey process, where not only do you discover what kinds of cell memories, what traumas are stored there, what old patterns are stored in your cells, but you go through a deep healing process of letting go and understanding what's taken place to you in your life, ultimately forgiveness, so that when the new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness. Now, you don't need to be a doctor to know that someone comes in for repeated heart treatment, there's some major stress in their life, that there's an emotional corollary to what's creating the physical illness. As a matter of fact, I one time read on the CDC, the Center for Disease Control's website, that 85% of all illness has an emotional basis. And the same is true in the oncology unit, which is the area that you are now investigating. And they actually did a documentary after following the patients who underwent the journey in this cancer, this hospital that specializes in oncology. And so they found that those that underwent the journey after they had their treatment, that it wasn't metastasizing, it wasn't returning. Same is true inside the fibromyalgia department of one of the hospitals, is that the people who had multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, after they were treated, then they went into the recovery week. And when they did the journey and got to the emotional root cause of what co-created the illness, they found that even though fibromyalgia and multiple sclerosis are degenerative, that people were starting to get out of their wheelchairs. One woman who had fibromyalgia was dancing again. She was a dancer. And so the reason I'm sharing all this with you is for you to know that it is possible to participate in your own healing journey. And so to stay open that hundreds of thousands of people have undergone the journey and healed various illnesses and I love it that we work right alongside doctors. There's no conflict there. So that, you're just undergoing and uncovering, why is the illness here? What's it trying to teach me? What's my karmic lesson? What was I meant to learn? Because you got a wake-up call. And it's a
Right.
scary wake-up call, a very scary one. And of course you're frightened. And of course you don't trust your body anymore. And of course you don't know about survival yet. You haven't gone in for a prognosis yet. And so just to know that I've had people with stage 4 cancer who have healed over the course of a year and no evidence of it returned. So they are inspiration for you, for your process. And it is an invitation to go on your own healing journey. I had a basketball-sized tumor and ended up in 6.5 weeks' time healing. And the gift of that was I found a means for all of us to go on a journey inside our bodies into specific cellular locations and to uncover the old pain, the old cell memories, the old traumas that are buried there, and to go through a very deep but quite profound process of releasing that old programming, releasing that old trauma, that old pain, that consciousness, coming to a place of understanding of what's happened to you that co-created the illness, and ultimately forgiving, so that you're forgiving self, God, life, other people, so that when new cells are born, they're born devoid of that old consciousness as new regenerative cells. And so it's really inspiration for you. And that you're nervous about it, that you don't know, that you don't trust your body, this is so natural. Even having been in this field for my entire adult life, having been certified in so many areas of integrative medicine and complementary medicine, yeah, I still got a tumor. And I can tell you, when I went to go see the doctor, I was shaking like a leaf and my heart was pounding through the roof. And yet somehow my soul guided me to heal. And that possibility and that invitation is possible for you to participate in your own healing journey as part of the process of healing. So I pray this has been of some inspiration to you. You know, you can get on our website, thejourney.com. And there are a lot of meditations there. There are videos you can watch, and you can get the Journey book, an abbreviated version, where you can learn about what the journey is and does. And also, of course, there are courses after this that you can undergo to not just learn about the science and why it's so effective, but to actually roll up your sleeves and dive in and actually experience the work. So Claire will be sharing how that's possible following here. So I pray that's just given you some tiny modicum of trust and hope that it's possible to be part of your healing journey.
Thank you.
And a heartfelt namaste.
Thank you. Slavika.
Hello, how are you?
Namaste. Very well. How are you?
Um, well, I'm feeling uh, lucky to be here in front of you. I kind of can't believe it. It's surreal for me because I've been wishing for this moment for such a long time.
Wow.
Um, I I feel so connected to your story. I have a very large uterine fibroids that have been growing
Mm.
in the past years at certain stressful periods of my life, and I've been doing the work. I myself do a lot of this work already, and found myself in a similar situation when I read your book of I'm already having a healthy lifestyle and all these things, and where can I move the needle? And I understand that it's asking me to sweep the corners of the room and leave nothing unturned. I did the online weekend intensive, and I've been working with some journey practitioners over the past 6 months. I've read the book a few times, and yeah, I've been on the journey with functional medicine and some other things as well. And I find that I can't, I'm always uncovering things, but I can't get to the root cause. And I don't know. I was hoping that somehow in the meeting there'd be some sort of um, something that could open up that I could see, or that you could help me um, understand where I need to navigate next, because I'm in a difficult position where they're all encouraging me that I need a hysterectomy and a bunch of other things. So I just, it doesn't feel right in my body. So I'm not sure. to move forward.
Do you know, sometimes we have buried it inside of us that we don't have permission to heal. That, and it's not you, it's generations of people that before you, the parents, the grandparents, the great-grandparents, that belief, it's not possible to participate in my own healing journey. And so if that belief is stored in there, then, you undergo a journey process, but you're not really getting to the root cause because you don't believe it's possible, And so it sounds to me like you are doing everything right. You're working with a functional medical doctor. You probably have an incredibly healthy diet, super clean, that you're, working with some journey practitioners. And what I would undergo if you do get a chance to work with a journey practitioner is ask them for permissions to heal process. The second thing I would do with them is what I call a DNA cleanse.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's not, because often things that are stored inside of us are not really our own. We inherited. As a matter of fact, there's a whole field of epigenetics where what the scientists are saying that 4 to 6 generations of trauma gets passed down through our DNA. So it's possible that you haven't yet gotten to some of the generational issues that have been passed on, the generational beliefs, the generational trauma. And so it truly is an invitation. So if you're working with a practitioner to undergo a DNA cleanse and to really go after some of the patterns, traumas that have been stored inside that aren't from this life, that you may have brought in with you or that are stored in your DNA. And there may also be some issues that aren't even from this life that you brought in with you as a soul. And often when someone is not getting to the real root, it's because it's not from this life. It's something that was brought in when you were infinite soul. Prior to this life, you brought in other issues from other times. And I have found that sometimes that can be the most profound healing effect on the body to get access to those. So those are 3 areas that I would investigate with your journey practitioner. And I think you'll be quite astounded. First, get permission, do the permissions process that you have permission, because often if we didn't have permission from our families and our culture to heal, then it's a non-starter. Secondly, a DNA cleanse to cleanse some of the trauma that's not yours, the beliefs that are there, the vows that have been made. And thirdly, to be open to going to prior to having a physical form, prior to having coming into this life, into the womb, to discover if perhaps a theme that's running in your life right now might be connected to either something from generational memories or past life memories. And so you're on the right track, and just trust yourself with that and continue your journey. That's beautiful. And so often I find you can't clear issues that your soul has an order in which you're meant to face and clear your issues. And so until those are cleared, the deeper issues can't emerge. And I really learned this with my situation. I grew up in a domestically challenged, violent household. And my sister had to witness, my younger sister, all the violence that took place. And I didn't know this, but she kept what she called a journal, a blue book of all that she witnessed. On my 60th birthday, she met with all the group that was coming for my 60th birthday. And she shared with me about the blue book that chronicled all the violence from the childhood. And I hadn't been aware of this one memory, but she reminded me of it. And she said, you know, I was in the room with you, and remember how when you were 16 years old, Mom used to come with a butcher knife in the middle of the night, and she would say to you she was going to stab you in your sleep. Now, my childhood mind blanked that out. It was just too strong a trauma for me. And when she shared it, it was like, whoom, up came that old cell memory. And so what I learned from that, and obviously I ended up clearing it, is that your body has a certain order that you're meant to clear your issues, and your body will never give you something you're not ready to face. But if it comes up in a journey process, then it means your soul, your heart, your being is ready to face it, and to trust in your soul to take care of you that way, to clear your issues in the order that you need to clear them. So my recommendation is there's nothing to stop you from, you can do it with a video from me, you can do it with an audio, you can do it with journey practitioners, you can do a journey swap on the Journey Home site, you know, get together with other people who've gone through the journey intensive, and get regular processing, like every week, or even, you know, if someone's got a very dire prognosis, I recommend they do it every day for a couple of weeks. And then eventually the root cause of what's co-creating this issue in your uterus will be revealed.
Yeah. You know, thank you very much. I remember that story from one of your audio recordings that I had listened to before, and I'm very trauma informed. And, you know, the onset of all of it was a very acute traumatic incident in my life, and it was completely destabilizing. And I'd have to say the level of helplessness that and um, I couldn't function. And it wasn't because I got into a physical accident. It was astounding, and I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't go through it in my life myself. And so it's interesting, like, you know, when you say it's like, you know, you won't be given anything you can't handle. It's like I almost couldn't handle that. You know, it took me literally 5 years.
Yeah.
But to be where I am now, which is functional in daily life and doing like
Yeah.
such work frequently. So I will follow like what you're sharing, and that that tiered process that you're recommending for the and I've done some work around ancestral stuff, and yeah, I it's interesting. Yeah, I'm just hoping somehow something in this conversation will also be heard within my cells, and to continue forward and just to see how it goes. And yeah, also with just Sabrina, to, yeah, just trust in the process. And even if whatever does need to happen is just if it's surgery or certain types of processes, or to trust that also that I can meet that in loving awareness,
Yeah.
which is a surrender as well, I guess. So I'm trying to be surrendered to it all, and it's hard.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. That is very beautiful. You know what I'd suggest is getting on the Journey Home, that
Mhm.
platform. And then, you know, once a month I give the Journey Home satsang. And then I can work with you directly on
Mm,
the couch, as it were. So I can one-to-one work with you personally and
mm.
open with something that's here. You know, whereas this is more questions and answers
Right.
open to everybody.
Gotcha.
And satsang's a great great way to, because you've already done the journey intensive, to continue your journey and use that whole library of tools that are available on Journey Home. You'd be amazed at how much you can download that's part of the Journey Home platform. It's where we all meet to deepen in our journey. And so
Okay.
beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the work you've done and for how you're just in service and the bravery that you had on your path to be in uncharted territory. So thank you so much.
A heartfelt namaste. Beautiful.
Emanuela.
Hello, I haven't seen you in forever. It's so good to see you, Emanuela.
Thank you. Thank you. So good to see you as well. And I did keep checking in the gallery view if other people who are maybe new to the journey had questions, and there weren't any other hands raised. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to ask a question, which is not related to trauma, not something as deep and serious as the previous two. And I do send blessings to Sabrina and Slavika. And my question is simply asking, what is a healthy way for me to respond to regular, continuous interruptions with loved ones, specifically my mother, my father, my sister. Whenever I talk to them on the phone and a few times a year when we visit, I've noticed over the last few years that they are always interrupting me. So like 2 days ago, I called up my mom. Burglars had tried to get into her apartment. She spent 20 minutes telling me about that, every single detail. And I listened to her, and then I was compassionate with her. And then when I started to share or to say something that I thought might be useful to her, within 5 to 10 seconds, she'd interrupted me. And this is a pattern that happens every single time I talk to her and to my dad and to my sister. And so I just stayed quiet and let her talk. And I know this isn't healthy because it's not good for our connection. So with my dad, he's soon 90, he's kind of lost his mind quite a bit and so on. And I'm just compassionate, and he's kind of almost like a little child. And so I let him do it, and I'm like, okay, no big deal. It's not about me. It's just his way of functioning, and I just listen to him. But there must be a healthy way to respond to this or to deal with this. I don't want to go against them. I don't want to create conflict, and I'm not quite sure how to do it. The approaches I've tried haven't really worked so far. So I'd appreciate it.
Emanuela, what I would do is I would do a journey process in consciousness with them. And often when people override other people is they're scared. And so they keep talking because they have to override what they're feeling. And so the really true way that you can meet deeply with them at the soul level would be in a journey process where you meet them heart to heart in consciousness with that person. I know what you're speaking about so much because my own mother was like this, and she was a very strong force of nature, and there was no getting a word in edgewise. And yet when I did my first journey process, and I had the tumor, and it healed about 3 months later, and I hadn't told her about any of it, because I didn't want to scare her, and I didn't want to invite all her fears around what might happen to me. And so what I did is I called her about 3 months later, and I said, "Mom, I've had a tumor, but not to worry, it's gone. Just wanted you to know." And I got off the phone, and okay, that conversation went fine. She actually let me get the sentence out before it became all about her and what she was experiencing, which So I got that one sentence out before she overrode me and then talked on and on about her life. But 3 days later, I got a phone call, and my mom's Austrian, as you know. And she said, Brandon, I don't know what has happened, but I feel that you have become a holy person. And can I come out and sit on your deck and look out to sea with you? And that time I lived in a tiny beach shack in Malibu. And she wanted to look out at the ocean and sit with me and look at the ocean. Now, my mother could not sit still for a millisecond in her life. And when I put the phone down, I got it. I hadn't suddenly become a holy person. She had just gotten it through consciousness that I was the only child in that household of the 4 children that had finally forgiven. And we began to live a love affair after that. You know, it didn't stop her from interrupting me all the time and making it all about her. But there was a much deeper connection. And I realized that connection is not about the words that we share. It's something so profound. It's at the level of the heart, at the level of consciousness. And I'm really grateful because my mom lived until she was 96 years old. And I got to have, you know, the next 20 years in a love affair to the ability that she was able to do that with my mom. And I just, like you, totally accepted that I would be overridden, interrupted. Nothing I shared would be of any value. And yet, somehow, there was a deep meaning, and I am the only child of hers who she repeatedly, in the last 5 years of her life, said, I love you too. And so it's very profound, these journey processes that we do in consciousness. And so I really strongly recommend that for you. Now, with your sister, you know, and I would do it with each one separately. And then I think you might find that your sister connects with you in a still place, in the places between the words. And that's kind of where I meet my family now these days, those that are still in physical form and still alive. So give it a shot. What have you got to lose? Put some old patterns, and perhaps you'll start connecting and recognize the words. I mean, in certain scientific backgrounds, they say words are 7% of our communication, and 93% is nonverbal. And in fact, that is where we meet, is in this love. So I pray that'll be of some use to you, and at the very least, just say, stop, Mom. I just would love to share something with you that's been coming up for me. You know, and just in the most gentle way, say the word stop, and then open with what's here. And if there's still the need to override it, so be it. Connect at a deeper level. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank
And a heartfelt namaste.
you.
Lovely to see you.
And I think that was our last question.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank everyone for opening and sharing, and I pray some of what was shared touches you or relates to you or is something that you can use in your life. And I love these, you know, they're only an hour-long session, but they're a chance for us just to open with whatever's here and explore how it is possible to resolve what's here and really begin to take action in our life. And And so for those of you who are grads in the journey, just want to encourage you to continue to deepen your journey and to get yourself on journey home. Our home for swapping processes and satsang with me, and for downloading a whole catalog of all free teachings and different audio recordings. And for those of you new to the journey, I really want to encourage you, if something spoke to you, that just you might want to investigate, get the journey on Amazon, the Journey book, or get onto our site, thejourney.com. And also, if you're really wanting to have a taste of this enlightened awareness, this love that is your essence, that is your very soul, and awaken to that. And if you want to actively roll up your sleeves and dive in and start clearing whatever blocks you, whatever holds you back or shuts you down on any level of being, if you really want to take the lampshade off your light so that this radiant presence that is your essence can live your life, then I recommend you follow your heart's pull. And Claire can share with you how that's possible, both in a weekend immersive journey immersion or in a 3-hour workshop, which is a mini immersion. For me, the work is all about uncovering your own truth, finding your own answers, doing your own process of forgiveness, your own healing. And the journey gives you the tools. It gives you the context of how, the method to go about that, to clear whatever's blocking you and to come home to who you really are. And so a heartfelt thank you to everyone and a heartfelt namaste. And I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Every 2 weeks, I give a Conversations with Brandon. Namaste.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Thank you for being here for the time with everyone this evening. Excuse me, it's very hot here and my throat is very dry, but I will speak just very briefly to those of you who are new to the journey, who may not have been to, as Brandon described, the journey immersion or our 3-hour introductory workshop called The Journey Within. So let me speak to you a little bit about what happens at those workshops. You will have understood the great power of the journey method. So we would wholeheartedly recommend, if anything has resonated with you here, please come and join us at a journey immersion. It's the 2-day event with a bonus day where we really roll up our sleeves and undergo the work. And you actually learn the method that Brandon spoke about, where she got access to the cell memories. So you get taught that process, and not from a cognitive perspective, but you actually undergo the process for yourself. So it's experiential. It's a deep dive. All of us that work for the company have been through the Journey Intensive. We've been through the whole practitioner program. It's changed our lives profoundly, which is why we love and show up and do what we do. So the journey immersion, as I said, it's 2 days. On the first day, we do what's called the emotional journey process. So we learn about the emotional journey. On day 2, we learn about the physical journey process, where we go on a journey inside of our bodies and uncover the memories that are there inside our bodies. On day 3, we get some extra skills and tools called the advanced skills that we add into those processes that we've learned, and it really solidifies the other 2 days. So we do recommend, if you can, to come for the 3 days fully. Very, very healing. Now, for those of you, and I must mention, for those of you who are here, we also have a discount code for you to use. I'm going to pop it in the chat, or my colleague is going to pop everything in the chat shortly. We'll also be sending you an email with all of the details, so you don't have to retain the information here. But the price of the journey immersion is €397. There's a €100 coupon code. There are payment plans for those of you who need them. So just let us know if you need that. You'll find it on the booking page. And if for some reason you want to just get a taste of the work to start off with, we have what's called the Journey Within, which is a 3-hour workshop where you get just a little taster of what we've experienced this evening and also what we experienced at the Journey Intensive. The next one is taking place in actually just next week. So if you would like to join the Journey Within and get the introduction, that's also discounted for those of you who are here. We reduced that from 87 down to 47. So please just use the links that are here and we'll be following it up by email. And those of you who are here who have undergone the journey immersion and beyond, I know many of you here have done the whole practitioners program. Just take the time, please, to pop a message in the chat just to let those who haven't experienced this work know what it's meant for you and how it's impacted you and your life. I can honestly tell you, I came to the journey back in the late 1990s, having had an ovarian cancer diagnosis. My path at that point in time was to go the traditional medical route, but I wanted to know what put that tumor in place. I wanted to understand why me. And so that's what brought me to the journey. And I can honestly tell you, hand on my heart, at that time, it gave me answers, it gave me healing, it gave me clearing. But even more than that, even now, this work continues to keep supporting me and allowing me to come home to myself, to feel more at home in myself, and healing on many, many levels. So I really, really want to thank those of you who are familiar faces. Thank you for being here, for your love and support. Thank you to those of you who are new and experiencing the journey and Brandon Base for the first time. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us. And I really wholeheartedly hope that we get to see you either at the Journey Immersion or at the Journey Within soon. Thank you to the team for being here, for your support. Lots of love, and we'll see you shortly. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.